Sunday night at No Surrender, Samoa Joe, with an assist from the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett, retained the TNA Championship over Kurt Angle and Christian Cage. Travel issues related to ice prevented Booker T from making it from his Houston home for the title bout, but it didn't prevent Sting from negotiating a contract to face the winner, and as a result, Sunday, October 12th, at Bound for Glory in Chicago, we now know it will be the battle for respect and the TNA World Championship, Sting challenging Samoa Joe.
This past Sunday night, I was taken to the limit by two of the greatest wrestlers in the world. Kurt Angle, Christian Cage. I gotta hand it to you. We may have our differences, we may never get along, but I give you credit for one thing, for showing up in this ring, giving everything you got for the most coveted prize in the world, the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, in front of the greatest fans in the world. Stinger! While we're out here busting our ass, while we're out here giving all we got to these people, where are you? You're back at home in your palatial estate, having tea parties with your kid. You see, while we're here carrying this company on our backs, giving you fans everything we got, wrestling our ass off. Stinger, where are you? Because you see, hate me or love me, win, lose, or draw, by God, I will die in this ring, and I will do it defending this belt. Look at my eyes, Sting. When is the last time you bled for this company? When is the last time you sweat for this company? When is the last time you have sacrificed anything for TNA? You see, while we're traveling the world over, entertaining you fans, Sting, you're back home. AJ Styles doesn't see his sons. When's the last time you missed one of your kids' football games, Sting? When's the last time you spent time away from home, sacrificed time with your family to be here, to be part of the greatest wrestling company on God's green earth? So I'll make this real simple, Sting. At Bound for Glory, it won't be about respect, you see. It'll just be me, you, the air we breathe, and the hate that we share for each other. And I'll tell you what, Sting, I'll tell you what. It'll be you asking for my respect. It'll be you reaching your hand out to me, but Sting, my hand won't be there. Instead, it'll be my size 13 boot kicking your ass all over that ring. And Sting, rest assured, it'll be showtime. So get ready to take your final bow. And Sting, when you do, you can kiss my ass.
Heated, yet heartfelt words for Sting from Samoa Joe. The two to square off for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship at Bound for Glory. Earlier today, Jeremy Borash on the scene for Jeff Jarrett's arrival. And here he comes. Sting is on his way to the Impact Zone after the blistering words that Samoa Joe had for the Icon earlier. Can you imagine how Sting will respond to Samoa Joe?
Well, you can't deny Joe's words were heartfelt, and you can see where he's coming from. But now you can see he's anxiously awaiting the response from the Icon.
At Bound for Glory in Chicago on October the 12th, Sting will be in the role of the challenger against the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Samoa Joe. Earlier tonight, we heard the scathing words from the Samoan submission machine directed towards the Icon Sting. I'm sure he's going to answer those. And we also know the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett, is in the building tonight, and he says he's got a message for Sting as well.
I mean, isn't it perfect? Bound for Glory with everything that's going on. Sting against Samoa Joe. Two guys on opposite sides as far as their views about this business.
Joe, your words, they cut right to the bone. They cut right to the bone, Joe. But you know something? The truth is, you're naive and you're immature and you're not smart enough to know what's really going on around here, Joe. Because let's face it, you're ticked off at me because I go to my son's football game, Joe. And you're also forgetting the fact, Joe, that when you were this big and you were sucking your thumb, Joe, I was running up and down the roads 340 days a year, wrestling in front of a few hundred in a small gymnasium for $20, Joe. $50 on a good day, Joe. And Joe, I've done this for 20 years now, Joe, and I haven't forgotten where I came from either, Joe. You talk about respect, you talk trash to me, Joe. Let me tell you something. I learned my respect a long time ago, Joe. I learned from the very best in this business. I took example, Joe. I took example from the greatest. And Joe, what are you gonna do 15 years from now? That is, if you have the longevity, if you have the durability, Joe. What are you gonna do when disrespect gets all up in your face, Joe? You know something, Joe? I learned from Magnum TA. I learned from Nikita Koloff. I shut my mouth and I listened and I learned respect from Dusty. I learned it from Tully Blanchard. You know something? I listened very intently to the nature boy, Ric Flair. And talk about that disrespect coming up into your face, Joe. It might come a lot sooner than you think, which brings me to Bound for Glory, Joe. I admit it, Joe. You're bigger, you're faster, you're stronger, and you're a whole lot younger than me, Joe. But guess what? I got a few tricks up my sleeve, Joe. I got a few tricks up my sleeve. 06 was phenomenal. 07, Bound for Glory, was phenomenal. And 08, Joe, it's going to be showtime. I'll see you.
Battle lines still divided. No respect issues solved tonight between Sting and Samoa Joe. That's our main event at Bound for Glory in Chicago. The icon Sting makes his way down the ramp. Sting set to come face to face with the King of the Mountain, Jarrett. Jarrett obviously has something to say to Sting. He doesn't want to say it behind his back. He wants to say it directly to Sting's face.
You know, Sting, we've been in this game a long time. Truth be known, my father is the one who gave you your first big break in this business. And he's very proud of it. He was the one who extended the olive branch to you, just like I'm trying to do to others in the back. Now, Sting, I've been watching your actions over the past few months, and more importantly, I've been listening to what you've had to say. And I've just got one thing to say. You are so full of crap. Sting, it's a smokescreen. You're trying to get on your platform, you're trying to get on your high horse and say it's about disrespect, that the young guys are disrespecting the veterans. Sting, I had a dream. That dream became a reality. And that reality is becoming a phenomenon overnight because of young guys like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. Stinger, you may not know this, but there are times in this company's history that guys like Joe, like guys like AJ, have literally carried this company on their back. And every step of the way, hold on, every step of the way, they showed me the utmost respect, just like I showed them. Just like I showed them. Sting, this ain't about disrespect. You know what? Let's talk about what it really is. Let's pull the curtain back about what this real platform is. Stinger, I was there. Deja vu. All over again. WCW. We worked in the same organization when a multi-million-dollar organization went out of business because the veterans wouldn't pass the torch to the young guys. You know why? You know why? Because they wanted to hold on to their spot. They wanted to hold on to their position. They wanted to hold on to their stinking fat paycheck. This ain't about disrespect. It's about 20 or 30 guys in that dressing room. Not a single one of them a day over 30 years old. You know what? They're nipping at your heels night in, night out. That's what it's about. This ain't about disrespect. It's about guys like you. And I can't even believe I'm putting you in the same breath as Booker T and Kurt Angle, but by God I am. Because all you three guys want to do is take, and not give. Stinger, I got a news flash for you. And I want you to listen up real good. This ain't WCW. It's TNA.
After months of hearing Sting complain about the lack of respect from the young lions in TNA like Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, last week Sting was the target of a verbal outburst from Jeff Jarrett that painted a totally different picture. Jarrett insists that it's not a question of the youth disrespecting Sting, but rather that the icon is afraid of losing his highly coveted position and his hefty salary. Tonight, will Sting respond to Jeff Jarrett? How will he address his role as the challenger to Samoa Joe's TNA World title at Bound for Glory? Or will we hear another lesson in respect or the lack thereof?
Jeff, out of respect for your dad, Jeff, and yes, out of respect even for you, last week I stood here and I listened to every single word that you had to say to me, but tonight, Jeff, you're going to listen to me. Because, Jeff, you may have some people swerved around here. You for sure have some of the 20-somethings, the gullible 20-somethings in the back swerved, but you don't have me swerved, Jeff, because I know the real Jeff Jarrett. You're leaving out some detail, Jeff. You're leaving out some detail that I know the 20-somethings in the back want to know, and the wrestling fans should know also. It was you, Jeff, that called me and said, Sting, would you come out of retirement and come and wrestle with TNA? It was you, Jeff, who said, Sting, I need some help. It was you, Jeff, who said, the Spike Network says, Sting, that if you come back, they'll pick us up. It was you, Jeff, that said, Sting, please, I need you. But it was right around that same time that I got another phone call from another promoter named Vince McMahon. And it didn't take me very long to figure out which company that I wanted to work for. I chose TNA, Jeff. Even though it was Vince McMahon who said, Sting, I want you to understand something. You're giving up the chance to make millions of dollars. So, Jeff, don't tell me that I'm all about money. If I was, that's where I'd be, Jeff. I chose to come here to work for TNA because I love the brand TNA. Because I liked seeing some of the young wrestlers that I saw, some of the moves that they were doing, Jeff. I liked what I saw. That is, until I got to know some of them personally, Jeff. So, Jeff, I want everybody to understand the details on what's going around here, Jeff. What's the deal? You don't need me anymore? Well, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree for right now, Jeff. Because I got bigger things to worry about, like Samoa Joe and Bound for Glory. And I'm going to try a different approach this time. We're going to try a visual effect. And direct your eyes, please, ladies and gentlemen, to the screens above. Arn and Tully, premier tag team of all time. They taught me that I should have eyes in the back of my head, because when you fought one, you were fighting the other one. There was trust and there was respect between those two guys. Next, Dusty Rhodes, one of the most charismatic wrestlers of all time. He taught me how to involve you wrestling fans. He also taught me you never judge a book by its cover. Next, Hulk Hogan. You could take a worldwide survey and ask people who is the greatest of all time, and Hulk Hogan would be the answer. Hulk Hogan transcended wrestling. Hulk Hogan, because of Hulk Hogan, wrestling became mainstream. The difference between some of the guys in the back and me is I'm not afraid to admit that. Next. It was 20 years ago this year that Ric Flair took a young, nothing happening jabroni named Sting, and he put me on the map. He had the choice to make my career or break my career, and he chose to help me out. Why? Because he knew that I had respect. Ric Flair taught me what it's like to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders and to be a world heavyweight champion. Ric Flair taught me how to travel around the world and keep on going. Ric Flair taught me how to walk the aisle and keep on going. Ric Flair told me how to bleed and keep going. He's the nature boy. He was my brother, my friend, my confidant. He's the nature boy. He's Slick Rick. Next. That right there, that guy right there is somebody who does not know how to be a world champion. He's somebody who needs to learn respect. Next, that's the guy who's going to get the job done. Bound for Glory 08 is mine, Joe.
In all my years, I have never seen, I have never heard the raw emotion that we've witnessed in recent weeks from Sting, Samoa Joe, Jeff Jarrett.
I must admit I'm a little confused. Well, I'm shocked, quite frankly. I fully expected to see you come down to the ring while Sting was in there giving his history lesson and do something about it. Instead, you were nowhere to be found, and that's not really like you. Is everything okay?
You know, JB, I've never been better. You see, over the past few days, I've come to realization. Kevin, I apologize. You know what? I was being so difficult, but I just didn't understand what you meant, but now I do. You see, JB, the lion is calm, cool, and collected. He's together right before he makes his kill. That way, he catches his prey unsuspecting. You see, JB, that's where I'm at right now. And as for you, Stinger, we're 3 weeks out. 3 weeks out from a match that I can't wait to wrestle. 3 weeks out from Bound for Glory. Sting, let's be honest here. This has nothing to do with respect. This has to do with fear, Sting. Fear of being rendered obsolete. Fear of a man like me taking a spot from a man like you. Sting, I'm done talking. I'm done yelling. I'm done screaming. I'm done making promises. I'm done making proclamations. I'll be quite simple about this, Sting. At Bound for Glory, I'll do all my talking in the ring.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, Joe, but Creed and I just wanted to come to you as men and say thanks for everything you're doing, man. And hey, if you ever need anybody to come to, we're always here, man. Fight it.
Fight the power, man.
Thanks, Joe.
Things are getting interesting, JB.
Samoa Joe, he's unbelievable at how he can turn a match around. You might get something going as you see the jawbreaker there by Bashir, but Joe always finds a way. But wow, Bashir twists that leg in midair, causing the damage, and look at him go right after it.
Well, you're right. The leg whip, I thought, may have injured Samoa Joe's knee as we see Bashir drop down right now and continue to apply the pressure.
You can hear Joe yelling no, screaming no, as he's trying now to get himself to break it. He does.
Single leg Boston Crab, and you see the rope break right there from Samoa Joe. And Bashir right back. You can sense right now that Bashir has a wounded TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
And it's what I mentioned earlier, so dangerous for Samoa Joe. He's got to figure out a way to get through this matchup as Bashir doing everything he can to harm Joe. He feels a weakness. He sees an opportunity. He's going at it.
Referee gets in between the two, and that momentary distraction allowed Joe to overpower Bashir, drives him right down to the canvas, and here he goes. Gonna bring Bashir right back up to his feet, set him up in the corner, position him up on top. Could be time for the muscle buster. Here it comes.
He's got it cinched in as you see him walk to the middle of the ring, spin around, and nails the muscle buster.
Drives him down. Here's the follow cover. The lateral press, and he gets the 3 count.
Here is your winner, the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe.
The look in the eyes of Samoa Joe tells us that he is totally focused on the task at hand. The victory over the X Division champ Sheik Abdul Bashir, merely a prelude to Sting at Bound for Glory.
Stinger! You're out here whining about respect. Well, I got your respect right here.
He throws down the microphone. Look at this. He goes right after Bashir, and he puts him in that rear naked chokehold, and he's not stopping. The referee can't get him to stop. Look at the eyes rolling in the back of his head.
Choking the life out of Sheik Abdul Bashir after he won the match. You can see that the referee, Rudy Charles, has called for backup. We've got 4 officials in the ring trying to pull Samoa Joe off of Bashir to no avail.
Rudy Charles has reversed the decision. The winner of the match is a result of a disqualification. Sheik Abdul Bashir.
Well, there's a disqualification, but Joe doesn't care about that. He knew that was going to happen. He's sending a message to Sting. He's sending a message that he'll do anything to break him, to hurt him, and that he's going to be uncontrollable.
Remember what he said just moments ago. Sting, it's no longer about screaming. It's no longer about yelling. Don talked about sending a message. That message sent loud and clear to the icon Sting. We're going to settle it in the ring at Bound for Glory. For respect in TNA has been raging for the past several months. Tonight, this is your opportunity to express your opinion to the world.
Well, for me, in 2001, wrestling ended in a bad way when WCW suddenly was gone. So when I got a phone call 5 years later from Jeff Jarrett, I came back because I saw guys that were going to take wrestling into the future. But when I got to know some of them more personally, they just don't have the respect. Why is a man who supposedly accomplished everything he's wanted to accomplish in his career, why is he so concerned with people like me, with people like AJ? Because we're the future of wrestling? You're right, Sting, we are. And you see, the person that's the most clear to is the man who's in the past.
a man who's been passed by.
My problem is not that. My problem is the disrespect. Why in the world would you take a Kurt Angle or a Booker T or any other veteran who's paved the way and try to hurt them, maim them, put them out of wrestling, period, totally.
Sting, I don't know if you've noticed, they do the same exact thing to me.
You know, that belt and the WCW World Heavyweight belt, I had a few times, and Ric Flair and I, we traded back and forth, and I'm the first to admit we didn't get along always. I realize that without a Ric Flair or an Arn Anderson or a Hulk Hogan, so the big names, there would be no Sting. I also realize that without wrestling fans, there would be no Hulk Hogan, there would be no Sting.
You sit here and you preach and you preach and you preach about how you care about the fans, how the fans made you, or you're so appreciative of the fans. Then how come you never show up? How come when the fans are at the building and it's TNA Impact time, it's Samoa Joe out there busting his for the fans?
You think for the last 4 years that I've just been coasting along? You're not going to disrespect me and get away with it.
And you know what? You're wrong. I respect what you were, Sting. I did the very same thing that you said that you did when the opportunity arose. So, you see, I just handle things a little bit differently. I knock you off your pedestal, and I make sure you never get back up.
Sting, this is your chance for final comments.
Enough has been said on both sides. I'm tired of talking. I'm sure Joe's tired of talking too. It's time to walk that aisle, and I'm going to walk that aisle at Bound for Glory.
The only reason I don't have my hands wrapped around your throat right now is maybe just to let you know that maybe I do possess a few of those qualities that you hold so dear. At Bound for Glory, you're going to walk that aisle. But I guarantee you, after I'm done with you, they'll be rolling you out.
Well, Sting, what's there left to say? We're 3 days away from Bound for Glory. Samoa Joe, your opponent, the TNA World Heavyweight Championship on the line. But a lot of people feel that there's so much more to this. A lot of people feel that the very outcome of this matchup you will have this Sunday will change the face of TNA forever.
JB, you're right about one thing. Enough has been said. But this match against Samoa Joe at Bound for Glory 2008 is going to be my biggest match ever. The biggest match of my life. It's not just about the TNA title. It's not just about all the glory and the applause. My reputation is on the line, and the whole world is going to be watching. And I'm not just representing Sting. I'm not just representing some of the veteran wrestlers. I'm representing people all over the United States, everywhere, who've been disrespected. The difference is I'm going to take a stand, JB. I'm taking a stand.
By chance, Sting, this Sunday you actually don't come out victorious.
JB, that's not an option.
The TNA management's Jim Cornette.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most eagerly anticipated TNA World Heavyweight Championship match in recent memory takes place this Sunday night. Chicago, Illinois, Bound for Glory live on pay-per-view with Samoa Joe, the World Heavyweight Champion, putting his title on the line against Sting. So without further ado, let's get him in the ring.
The differences, the disagreements, and the arguments will all finally be resolved this Sunday in the main event of Bound for Glory live from Chicago. The battle lines that have separated the entire TNA organization originated with Sting's plea to the young lions of TNA, like Samoa Joe, to put respect above everything else when competing in the six-sided ring. Samoa Joe feels strongly that Sting's actions are merely a cover, that the issue isn't respect, that the issue is about protecting his spot and his inflated paycheck. Since becoming the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Samoa Joe has dedicated his title belt to his army, the TNA fans, and it's no surprise that with his biggest championship defense this Sunday, he enters the Impact Zone through the fans. He claims that deep down, Sting's concerns aren't about respect, but rather fear. The fear of Sting being replaced at the top by Samoa Joe.
Gentlemen, once again, you've agreed in principle over the last few weeks to the rules of the match. And also, I want to call your attention, Sting and Samoa Joe, to this. The one specific clause that you both asked and agreed to be put into this contract. After your match this Sunday night at Bound for Glory, win, lose, or draw, there will be no rematch.
Oh, that's huge. That's what we've been waiting to hear.
All that remains, as I said, is for you to affix your signatures to this contract. Sting is the challenger. I would like to ask you to go first. Samoa Joe is the reigning TNA World Heavyweight Champion. The eyes of the world will be on you in Chicago this Sunday night. Your signature to the contract. Ladies and gentlemen, I can say it is executed right here. We have the signatures. All that remains now is to have the match Sunday night, Bound for Glory. Gentlemen, do you have any last questions, any last concerns, or any last comments?
Joe, you know something? It didn't have to be this way, but here we are. It is what it is. So I'll see you at Bound for Glory.
Joe, do you respond?
Stinger, you do what you need to do. I'm going to do what I need to do. But you know, you got to ask yourself, I bet you're wondering why I haven't stepped across, why I haven't put my hands on you, why I don't have my fingers wrapped around your throat, and why I'm not stomping you into this mat right now. I'll tell you why, Stinger. Because if Kevin taught me anything, it's that, above all, you be professional. And professionally speaking, Sting, you're wrong about me, because I do respect you.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a fine show.
Whoa! My God, did you see that headbutt?
Joe just couldn't take it. He just couldn't take it any longer. He had to provoke it, and now look at Sting.
The intensity, the emotion, the drama that we've witnessed between Sting and Samoa Joe in the past several months has been unparalleled. And Samoa Joe was a powder keg just waiting to explode, and that's what he did.
He couldn't wait till this Sunday. Can you imagine it, Bound for Glory? These two guys for the World Championship. I mean, you can just feel the hatred.
And think of the personal issues that will be resolved when Jeff Jarrett meets Kurt Angle with Mick Foley as the special enforcer. Without